Linux Out Loud is firing up our mics, connecting those headphones as we prepare to get rowdy. I'm Wendy, and I'm joined with my fellow co-hosts, Matt, Bill, and Nate. Yes, we are 4 friends sitting around a virtual table talking Linux, open source tech, gaming, and everything in between. We keep the banter friendly, the conversation. I have no idea how on topic the show is going to be, but we do have fun doing it. This week, we're spouting off about our Linux hopes of 2025, and for this beginning of the year, I just thought we had to have all 4 of us together. So let's get into episode 105. Well, we've already had our first content edit of the show, but Matt, you've been super busy with work. Anything else going on but work, and some more work?
Unfortunately, not really. Any free time that I do have has been very, 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 very limited. And, well, I'll get into about why later as far as any free time has been taken up with another project if we get to that. So, yeah, no, I don't. Holiday seasons, retail makes it just hectic for the last probably 3 months. So, hate the end of the year every year.
Right. Is it going to be slowing down like anytime soon, or you just see it being crazy sauce from here on out?
It's just strictly as far as work, I am 9 people understaffed.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of sums it all up, doesn't it?
So people are probably returning stuff, I would guess, maybe, being in retail?
Wrong end of retail, thank God. I'm glad I don't deal with that end of retail. So I'm supposed to have about 20
coming up. So that's fun.
Yeah, that's the wrong kind of retail too. So I'm supposed to have about 20 people in the department I manage. I have 9.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's definitely a bit rough.
Hiring.
Yeah, there's a whole story to that I can't get into.
That'll be saved for the post show after the recording. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yes,
but
definitely.
It just is what it is.
So yeah, while I have been super, super busy with work and doing other jobs that definitely are not part of my job, but hey, is what it is. And apparently my company decides to feel like cleaning house. So I'm not the only one cleaning though. It was here, Bill, you are cleaning out old hardware.
I am. I took the holiday break to basically gut whatever old garbage I had in here. And the hardest thing to throw out is the first thing. But then once you start getting into it, you really look at the hardware that you have. And especially with my collection of network hardware, and I quickly realized that I don't need or use a large chunk of it. And most of it is very old at this point. So I can now see my basement floor again. And between what I had at the office and what I had here, I filled the back of an entire pickup truck between servers, UPS batteries, switches, firewalls, racking equipment, shelving, and everything else. It took about 4 to 5 hours to clean out this basement. And the office basement was probably another 4 to 5 hours. So
UPS batteries though? Like just the batteries or like the whole
thing. I wasn't going to, the batteries were shot, and frankly, I didn't want to take the time to take the batteries out, and the person who collects the scrap for me gets paid by the pound. So he was quite pleased to have very heavy lead acid batteries to add to
I bet he was
the total. So he said, I would gladly take these all off your hands. But more importantly, it's going to allow me to kind of kick my lab off and all of my other gadgets and doodads on a fresh note with fresh hardware and a clean basement floor.
I dig it.
I even threw out a whole bunch of old keyboards and mice and monitors and all the old peripherals that, even if sometimes they're still serviceable, they're a bit gross and you don't want to really touch those anymore. So I started to clean some of them off with rubbing alcohol and took all the letters off of them. And at that point I said, we're a little done here with a keyboard that I bought in 2006.
If you were closer, there's some of that stuff that would have been a great place for it to be donated to. So we had a robotics event this last weekend. So we were part of the, what did they call it? Cabin Fever Days. So the one local town put on a Cabin Fever Day. So they've got different activities all over town. And the place that we were at, they just bought this old bank, and one business is still using the upper and lower floors, but that center section, they're turning it into what is called a hacker space. So they've got some local teachers and other things. So like in the one back room, they were allowing kids to just tear stuff apart, laptops, all kinds of things, like all kinds of things. They had for them to take apart old phones and all kinds of things. And I know that they've got some soldering guns, so they're teaching soldering and like all kinds of fun stuff there. And that front half is where we had some of our robot tables and stuff set up. But they've got like a beginning little like tech museum started on the one shelves. And so it'd be fun to like be able to add certain things to it. They have like the little floppies. They need some big floppies and some other things to go in it. But yeah, some of that would have been perfect for their museum section.
If I come across any more in my travels, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Just be able to donate to them.
Yeah, I think he probably will, just based on what you do.
I come across a lot of
most
that.
likely.
But I'm not the only person fiddling around with keyboards. Nate, I understand that you have some fun things going on with keyboards as of late.
Yeah, so Santa brought me an 8-bit do Commodore 64 keyboard and number pad set. It's a retro line of keyboards. I think it has the white, the cherry white or something like that. Something white switches. Bottom line up front, it is the nicest keyboard I've ever purchased. It rivals the C64X or Commodore Imposter I'm using here. And it's really just super nice. It has a separate number pad. So sometimes I like to have a number pad, like normal people, where it's on the right. But very often I like to have it on the other side, because a lot of times when I'm doing like, if I'm going through a bunch of emails and compiling information, like the backup reports that I get from the Datto, I like to go through those and then punch them into a spreadsheet just to keep track of it. I'm sure there's a way you can automate that, but I like to physically look at it and have that acknowledgement of that things are being backed up like they should be. And if they're not, then I can actually act upon it. So I know it can be automated and you could probably create all kinds of cool tools, but if I'm not engaged in it, then what good am I?
This looks so cool. I think I want one just for like the purpose of when I've got my laptop set up somewhere, like still typing on that, just for people to ask questions, right? Like just for the sake of, what's that?
So it has, the number pad is separate, and it also has an additional feature of it being a calculator, like old school kind of calculator, which is funny,
heck yeah,
just in general. And so it's actually kind of handy. I've put it in calculator mode just to use it, and I use it just as a number, but mostly I use it just as a number pad. It's very, very convenient. It has 3 connection options: 2.4 gigahertz wireless, got a little dongle for that, Bluetooth, and then also just USB wired. Thankfully, it uses USB-C and not anything silly. So thank you, 8-bit do, for that. It also comes with the keyboard itself comes with 2 buttons and a joystick, and so in Plasma you can create the shortcuts for everything in Plasma. One of them is to activate the. I might be messing this up here, but whenever there's a window demanding attention, but you're not, so it's like flashing whatever in your taskbar.
Right. Yeah.
I believe it's Meta Alt A or Control Meta A, something like that, will activate that. Will have you jump to that screen, whatever virtual workspace it's on. So I assigned one of those buttons to be that. So I just hit the button, and then it takes me to whatever.
Ooh.
That's actually pretty convenient. So I don't have to remember if it was Control Alt A or whatever. And then the other one I have assigned to just email. So if I want to just get to my email real quick, I just hit the other button. And I use those both those are pretty frequent things that I would use them for. And then the joystick, I just tied those to the cursor keys. So 2 reasons. One, if I'm playing some old DOS-based games or even Commodore 64 games where it uses like the arrow keys or something like that I can just use that joystick, which is a lot of fun. Or if I'm going through a text document or spreadsheet, I can actually use a joystick for that. And there's some novelty in doing that. Not a lot, doesn't last very long. It just, you laugh about it the first time. But anyway, so that's very handy. I would actually like more buttons. I could actually attach more buttons to it if I wanted to. There's little connections on the back, like 3.5 millimeter jacks in the back that for this. So you could actually make your own buttons, really. I'm going to take one of them apart at some point in time just to see how they're made. Yeah, and also the keys themselves, they're very smooth to type on. They're super nice. Even the noise they make just sounds quality. There's no play or weirdness at all with the keys. And the keycaps themselves have that spherical, like the Commodore 64's high spherical profile or spherical high profile keys. These have the spherical all profile, so it's very similar, not as tall, but also like kind of like graduated spherical, concave layout or arrangement. So it's also very nice. I can't say I have any complaints. Now they're the ABS keys instead of the polyethylene or whatever. So I guess they're not as good as like some of the other retro keys keyboards that they have, but don't care. I can't tell the difference anyway. It's great. It truly is an awesome keyboard. I really enjoy using it. I like it so much. I'd like Santa, or for me, to get another set just for work. Or maybe I could probably have work buy it for me, but I feel guilty having him spend that much money. So I'm not going to do that. But I like the keyboard so much. It's a really, really nice keyboard. Much nicer than I deserve. I know Matt agrees to that. And if you like retro keyboards, retro style keyboards, and you just want to, have one, or like you use like a nice mechanical keyboard, but it's also retro style, that's a good keyboard for that. There's also two keys on the keyboard itself, like an A and a B key. It's just like has like a box around it on the right side. I assigned those to cycling through my virtual desktops, so I can very quickly like jump to different desktops with that as well. And that's pretty handy, unless you're typing and you inadvertently hit it with your wrist. That's not handy, but that only happened to me once. But anyway, so it's just really nice, and you can you can program actions and such within the keyboard. It doesn't require any software. They do have some software for Mac and Windows only, of course, so shame on them. 8-bit do. You could do better. But I don't know what it'd be even used for at this point. So you can do everything right there on the keyboard, so it doesn't really matter that much. But anyway, great keyboard. I really love it. They have a Famicom style, an F style and an M style, so which are different like retro looking.
I like the
colors.
M style. I'm looking at it. Yeah, I definitely like the M style. I'd use it.
It's not beige enough. Just saying.
Yeah, I know. Not for you. I can definitely see why you got the C64 edition, without a doubt. But I would totally do the M style.
No, I don't need that, Matt. Christmas is over. Anyway, I really enjoy it. I'm very happy with it. In fact, I did buy an extra numpad because my son liked it so much that as a 12th day of Christmas gift, because that was Sunday, I got him a number pad, and he loves that thing. He uses it all the time now. So
heck yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, check it out. I love it. I've never been like a keyboard. I've never understood the mechanical keyboard craze. I mean, I've liked the clickiness of them, but now I think I understand. I mean, it took me years and years and years to figure it out, but now I understand. So also, that number pad would go good just beside my Commodore 64 Imposter here. Just like, sometimes I do need a numpad. And that would be the perfect.
Yes, it would.
That would be the perfect complement because it matches the color perfectly. It's obviously shorter, but it's pretty great.
So Nate, the thing that I just sent in the show notes, that would also accompany perfectly, and you'd get from having it anyway. That's
probably like a nice scotch or bourbon in there, and I don't think I'm that. Like chocolate milk might be good.
No. I like where this is going. I'm going to have to add this to my cart. This is right up my alley.
Totally.
I love that. That is so cool.
Yep. Totally not being an enabler.
Well, I mean, I just can't justify it for me though, because I mean, I don't drink booze.
You would try to find a way to justify it. You know it.
Look, you could serve sparkling water in it. How about that?
I'm sure that's not alcohol in it. It looks more like a polyurethane, actually, but...
What's the difference?
Where you get your booze from? Not much.
I mean,
Oh God, I love that.
if it's from Appalachia, it's probably just going to be clear anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Might make you blind.
That's only the white lightning, and if it's 190,
Hmm.
aka rubbing alcohol.
I knew I couldn't see straight that morning, and I thought I had put the bottle down next to the isopropyl that I used to clean the computers with, and then my glasses went missing. That whole night makes sense now. Now I know why New Year's was such a blur.
No, see, the
Rough
reason
night.
you need the glasses is because of that.
Yep.
You're welcome for derailing the show, Wendy.
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't start it.
Almost
I wouldn't
on
expect
topic.
any less. Right?
Almost
I
got
mean,
it
it's
to the
Atari
topic.
Retro Tech, which is a sidestep from
It
the
still
Retro
totally
Tech with
fits
modern
in.
Linuxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
be
the
good,
thing is when we get off topic, it's like slowly transitioning away from the original topic, but it still all
Yep.
links together somehow, right? Like,
It, slowly, then all of a sudden,
It's called We're
this,
Trying Too Hard.
this would be good for like the Linux Saloon, I think.
oh, perfect. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, no keyboards for you to talk about, Wendy, but there's some other no's that you have.
Yes, I have no Fedora and no printer CAD, 3D printer CAD. Though I have been printing enough over the holiday weeks that I could have two printers running at the same time. So just kind of a heads up. No, I still don't have Fedora installed for the next 6 weeks. There's something going on every single weekend. DL picks back up this week. So the likelihood of me having time to install it is being pushed back again to probably. It depends on how states go. If they don't go to Worlds, then I'll have a lot more time on my hands. So at least things are being pushed back to February. If both teams are going to Worlds, we're probably pushing things back to like end of April, early May, unless something comes up to where I absolutely have no choice to do a fresh install. And it's just the amount of time, right? Like, I love Fedora, but the point of doing this first install or this install with Fedora is to figure out all the things that I need to install to make it a fully working system for me so that I can develop a script and being able to do a quick install after that. But right now, to get the stuff I need, especially where there is some of that proprietary stuff that doesn't come right pre-available in Fedora, you have to add additional repos to get it. That it's just not a quick, easy process. And I like it when I do a clean install that when Magneto gets home, like, the games already work, he can launch whatever he's used to launching. So it's going to be a little while before that's a possibility. He is in Nevada this week and possibly next week too. So like, if I didn't have all kinds of stuff going on the next 2 weeks, then this would be the perfect time frame to do it because it would give me a little more like leeway and maybe not having everything done. But unfortunately, where these are working systems, that's just not possible. So as of right now, I still don't have Fedora installed. I haven't started on a 3D printer build, though I do really, really need to get a box built for all of the internals, right? That the main board of my 3D printer is just sitting out there. The MOSFET board is just kind of sitting out there behind the printer at the moment. And we have cats. So I have had a cat kill a print because they step on the power. So
They bad at it. It can do the...
No, just like, because I've got a soft case around the printer, and especially when the printer's running, so it's really nice and warm, they like to sit on top of my printer case, that soft printer case. And so the one, instead of jumping from the low wall onto the printer, they jumped from the little table up onto the printer and hit the power cord or the power button for my Raspberry Pi when they did that. So thankfully, it was just the beginning of a print, but yeah, still had that fun to deal with. So I'd have to get that in a box at some point, get it catted, get stuff in there. But once again, that takes time. At this point, if it isn't like specifically on the to-do list, it's just not happening, right? Like, we're a week behind as far as getting the show out, and I was going to be like, hey, due to New Year's and all of that stuff, we're not going to record, and I didn't even get that out on the different social media channels. So I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. I'll get there when I get there.
I'm sure everyone's so upset about it.
Well, I'm sure people were wondering where it was, but yeah, that's where it was. Holiday.
Yeah, but if they're like Bill and chugging back an isopropyl alcohol, there's no way they were even noticed anyway.
Man, I can't even fill this glass right.
Iced isopropyl alcohol, huh?
Isopropyl alcohol. It's a New England special. It's what we drink on Sundays.
His favorite salads, bourbon with H2O croutons.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
You can jump us into telling us what you're looking forward to, what you're hoping for this coming year. We're now brand new year, 2025. We all start out the year with hopes and dreams and well wishes. We don't necessarily end the year that way, but
ironically, though, I'm usually the one that has the most luck on forecasting things for the year as it relates to
that you have. Except for when you're saying that you're not going to buy hardware and you lose really bad. But
that's resolutions. I'm talking about like predictions for various things in Linux. Difference.
Yes.
Resolutions I totally suck at, and I'll be the first to admit it. Anyway, the one thing I'm looking forward to this year was actually something that I was waiting for CES to kind of roll around. Anybody that's kind of been in the tech space or whatnot, around this, and Wendy, you can drown off into La La Land now. Anything around the Steam Deck and SteamOS being available for other devices beyond the Steam Deck. There was an announcement today, I believe it was today, as of recording, that Lenovo is putting out a Lenovo Legion Go with SteamOS.
That's exciting.
And Valve is going to be making SteamOS available to other handheld devices.
Nice.
So, and some of the press around it has been quite interesting because it's like, oh, yay. Like, even Lenovo is marketing it as like, hey, a OS designed specifically for handhelds.
Specifically, yes.
So I found that interesting because it was like, they still are offering Windows models for those that care, but I find it interesting that this is happening because I'm not going to say it's the year of the Linux desktop, but I think Valve no, it's not going to be the year of the Linux desktop because the year of the Linux desktop is whatever year Linux became a viable desktop for you. And that is my take. Anyway.
So 21 years ago.
Cool. But I think this, a lot of the anti-cheat stuff that we've been hearing about where like the support's been pulled, like Apex Legends recently lost its Steam Deck support and all this other stuff. I think if these guys have a specific distro, and the distro crowd can rag on me for this, but I think from a developer perspective, having a immutable file system with Flatpak as the install method and just a targeted system without all the changes that potentially happen with Arch, with Fedora, with Ubuntu, and all the other 900 other distros that we have, them having one target and us figuring out how to make it work, that's totally cool. I'm fine with that. That you want to talk about building community. That's how Valve built a community around the Steam Deck. Like they were just like, we're going to be open. It's like, here's a 3D printed designs, make your own cases. We don't care. Here's some hardware to fix it. Whatever. We don't want you to upgrade the SSD, but you can. Here, how you do it.
That was a good video they did.
Yeah.
Don't do this, but here's how you do it.
But I think we will start seeing, like, we've started seeing a lot of the right to repair bills being passed. We've seen a lot of the stuff that from the tech perspective and the tech industry has changed and shifted, because before it was lock everything down, thinner, and all this, weld everything together essentially with glue and all the other crap, ask
Apple. Wait.
Actually, I was going to say Microsoft. Ask Microsoft. I have one of the worst rated iFixit devices ever to be made by iFixit.
Is it a Surface?
And it is a Surface Book 2. It is rated like the most garbo rating for iFixit, because you have to essentially tear everything apart just to get to one thing.
To be fair, they're more of a tablet than they are a laptop. So
yes,
that does make them additionally more difficult as far as parts. But agree, 100%.
But we're seeing a lot of that flip and change. And I'm really looking forward to that much more consumer choice, consumer kind of more open market, more framework kind of style for computing that I'm really interested in. We're seeing things like eGPUs actually becoming not absurdly expensive anymore. I have a brick down there that cost me $350 to buy for the case and the power supply. You can go onto like Minis forums right now and buy a USB-C 4 or a Oculink GPU dock. Buy your own power supply, buy your own GPU, throw it together. There you go. There's your eGPU now. And the thing and the bracket costs you like $99 or something. It's not expensive. So for things like, handhelds and that kind of stuff, that's a fantastic option. So more options for entertainment and gaming and computing in general, I think is going to be fantastic. I think we're going to see a lot more of that because of the kind of open nature Valve started with the Steam Deck, and that kind of busting through with them putting it on more devices as well. And maybe we might see maybe an improvement in Windows on handhelds. And I'm not a Windows guy, even though ironically, we might see an improvement nonetheless, because I've had Windows on handhelds and the experience is about as good as trying to cram Mac OS on an iPad.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
This is definitely way better news, because I watched the NVIDIA keynote, and that was painful. It was so incredibly painful. So I'm glad that something positive is coming out of CES.
So I know this is totally, well, not totally off topic. NVIDIA is actually developing a native for the Steam Deck. Again, make it work on probably for what's the GeForce, the streaming, their streaming app. They are making a native GeForce Now.
Yeah.
They are making a native app for the Steam Deck. So my hope by that being done by NVIDIA specifically is that maybe if we start seeing some NVIDIA hardware in these devices or similar devices across Linux in general, we might be seeing some of those nice software perks that a lot of the Windows guys get with their NVIDIA GPUs. For anybody who does any kind of content creation, NVIDIA Broadcaster is really, really, really hard not to like.
I've never used it, so yeah, it's not something that I can speak to.
It uses AI for noise cancellation, for like background, instead of just kind of the way we currently do background noise cancellation and stuff. It uses your GPU for it locally to isolate your voice and take out background noise.
Okay. I mean, I'm already using something like that inside of DaVinci. Yeah. It does go through and helps eliminate the background noise and that kind of thing as I turn on a feature in it.
It's essentially a more refined noise torch, essentially.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Using AI and all the other stuff, as opposed to kind of the more modularity focused way we currently do it. So just the fact that NVIDIA is even doing that, I was like, hey, maybe we won't have crappy apps like, X server settings that looks like it came out in 1972.
Maybe we'll see. I know there's a lot of stuff that needs to be updated on the Linux side as far as that goes, but I'm curious even more so because I am running an NVIDIA graphics card. I don't know how much longer I can run this card without updating. So yeah, we'll see what the year has in store. And I doubt the prices on the 40 series is going to come down much when the 50 series actually drops. That just kind of seems to be that works. I even noticed like Google Pixel phones, they have last year's model and this year's model on their website priced almost identical. And I'm like, okay, apparently you're not interested in getting rid of the old stock. Whatever. But yeah, it kind of feels like NVIDIA is going to be the same way along those lines. So just kind of curious. I'm paying attention to
$2,000
the
for
market
your
anyway.
$590, please.
I wanted to
See
add to Matt's comment on the gaming positives. So this week in Linux, Michael was talking about how the Marvel Rivals, how they had
yes,
their
I did hear
anti-cheat.
about this game.
Yeah, so their anti-cheat like flagged basically everyone running anything through Proton or whatever. So Mac and Linux users were pretty much locked out of the game for cheating, and then so people complained, and they basically said, okay, we're going to fix it and we're going to make it right. And so they went the extra step to make sure that nobody is excluded in playing the game. And so kind of very opposite of the Apex Legend, Dodo Birds and Epic Games and everything else. So that's already a shift in the right direction. Whether it affects some of these other, maybe less intelligent game studios is yet to be seen. But that's at least a shift in the right direction. So I just wanted to make sure before we totally lost off of this that there is some good news already in the beginning of 2025. So
kind of to further reiterate what Nate was saying was what that basically happened is when they got flagged, they got banned. Their account is done. Mm-hmm. They unbanned everybody.
Oh.
They just didn't fix the problem. They unbanned everybody that got banned based solely on
nice. What is it called again?
Marvel Rivals. It's a free to play kind of it's a free to play looter shooter essentially, or a kind of Overwatch kind of game.
So is it free to play but pay to win, or just straight up like?
So what I've seen, it's not pay to win. Cosmetics cost money,
which that makes sense to me.
Yeah, like the actual. But the actual gameplay itself, there's stuff that can be unlocked, etc., through the game and all that kind of stuff. So there's like progression and that kind of stuff, different heroes. Mm-hmm. I haven't really gotten deep into it, but like Nate was saying, props to the change in some of the developers' mindsets as it relates to realizing that people just kind of want to play their entertainment where they want to play their entertainment. Mm-hmm. Kind of wish people would understand that, studios that, kill off all.
It was released like a month ago, just over a month ago, and it has lots and lots of very positive reviews so far. So I guess that is your first game of the week for the year.
Yeah, game recommendation.
Check out Marvel's Rivals.
But while that's my recommendation, what about some of you guys? What are your predictions for the coming year?
What I would like to see are two things. One is technical and one is not. So I'll start with the non-technical one. The first thing that I would like to see is Matt without a beard.
I don't know if I want to see that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Especially if we're talking about jarring. Which Matt, like that Matt or my husband Matt, because my husband Matt has to keep the beard. It's got to keep the beard.
I think we should maybe
the most you'll get from me, Bill, is a goatee. That's as low as I go.
I think Matt needs a date with a barber and a straight razor for the beard and maybe for the hair too. We can fix that. And if not, I'll volunteer my services to do it. I've seen how it's done on YouTube, and it's not that hard. I can do that. Very capable.
I'm going to stick up for Matt here. Some guys should not be clean shaven. Just, yeah.
I definitely.
What are you worried about? My hands only shake a little bit.
It's like with the razor.
So the comment about the 190 thing earlier might calm the hand down.
Nope. The tech. So for the tech thing that I would like to see in 2025, on a more serious note, are more privacy-focused voice assistants. So everybody knows of the big three, Alexa and Siri and Google Home. But recently, the Home Assistant Foundation came out with their own privacy-focused smart voice assistant. It's all self-contained. It does not require or talk to the cloud in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, you can use your own AI large language models to train it to be more intelligent. And what I like about what the Home Assistant Foundation did is, much to Valve's point, they open sourced everything from the code to the schematic to the process. And the founder of the Home Assistant project was on another podcast recently where he said, we don't want to be the only game in town. We want other companies to make these speakers. We want to see competition. We want to see this flourish and grow. So as someone who messes around with the smart home platform, Home Assistant quite a bit, that for me would be kind of the missing piece filled once and for all. So that's basically what I would like to see. And I'm hoping for good things to come out of that. Nate, I know you're a big Home Assistant fan too, so maybe what I'm coming out with here is something along what you're interested in, or do you have something else that's
that would be great. I have some personal Home Assistant goals for this year. They're not really fleshed out, but I do want to add cameras. I don't have a good camera solution right now. I got some from like a local hardware store that were not expensive. This Tuya based, I can't remember exactly what they're TUYA is the Tuya, yeah. Successfully being able to pull those so they no longer require any kind of cloud action to use, because I would love to do some upgrades in my house as far as like the lighting is concerned. I have all LED can lights now, and some of them are starting to fail. And I've got some like I got some I got for free that I've been popping in, and it's been mixed results with these. You get what you pay for, right? But there's that Tuya, they have the options are great as far as what's available out there. But I would love to have RGB LED downlights, not because I want to have like an RGB party that would give Wendy a migraine, but because there's one thing I want to be able to do, and this is my goal. This is my ultimate goal in all this. And I've seen other people do this, so it's not like anything. It's not unfeasible, but I want to do it so it's all within my network. I would love to be able to say, computer, red alert, and then actually have the lights in the house do the pulsating red, like in Star Trek, like whatever. So I know, like, if I say to the Amazon Alexa, the lady tube, if I say, sorry about that. If I say red alert, it'll do the whole, thing. It's very funny. So I'll only plug it in every once in a while just to be able to do that, and that's it. But I'd like to be able to do that on my Home Assistant. But that's kind of like, it's not really practical. There's no real, I don't have like a solid reason for that. It's not a good reason, but it's something I want to do.
I can give you some guidance on good cameras too. So actually, funny you mentioned cameras. My boss showed me some camera footage from his front yard this morning at about 1:30, where somebody had driven onto his front yard, a good 60 feet into his yard. He just happened to catch it. The person was in the vehicle. They were having a medical event, unfortunately. So he was able to call 911. When the police showed up, they did ask for the footage off the camera. And he has cameras that have incredibly good night vision. As clear as day. And these are cameras that we've actually installed at car dealerships, because unfortunately the thieves like to take tires off the back of certain vehicles, the spare tires. And according to the local police department, after viewing the footage, they were able to identify not only the criminal, but the brand of underwear that they were wearing at the time. That's how clear the camera was. So when you're ready, Nate, I will be happy to have a nice chat with you about different kinds of camera makes and models that might suit your purpose.
But on a serious, thank you for that, an actual note of what I do want to do. So I will have had my framework laptop for 2 years this summer. Can't believe it's been that long already, but it has been. And I have a project where I need another framework mainboard. So I decided instead of just buying like the low end, whatever on sale mainboard they have, I want to get one of the Intel Ultra 7 mainboards for it. And some might say, well, why not the AMD? It's just because I want 4 Thunderbolt ports. I don't want 2. That's the main reason why. So I'd like to get like the Ultra 7, probably the lower end Ultra 7 that they have, and replace my mainboard with that. Give my mainboard to my son who's got a framework, and then take his 11th generation and then put it in a project that I have. So kind of do that little, hand-me-down game. So not that I have any issues with like the performance of it. I just want a new mainboard for a project. I want a mainboard for a project, so I'm just going to buy a higher end one and then just kind of do the chain down. So I will look forward to that also because the Ultra 7s have the NPUs, the neural processor units. And then I have been playing a little bit with the local language models, and I'd like to see if there's actually a performance increase with that, if that actually makes a difference or if it's just a bunch of marketing wankery. And then also I know the Ultra 7s I think it's a smaller, yet again, technology, the tighter nanometer technology, so it should be more efficient on its performance than a 1360p that I have, which has been great. I can go almost all day on battery unless I'm running a bunch of VMs, which that's to be expected, I guess. So it's but I'm always running VMs like all the time now, so I don't know that anything would be good for that. But so that's what I like to do. And then and I have some thoughts about even upgrading my display system on my desk this year again. I don't know exactly which direction I want to go because I have 6 screens now, but there's 7 panels. And I think I want more, but I have to do it in a smart way. I don't have a solution for it yet. I've been looking at different options, different ways to go with it. But I'm spoiled with a higher resolution screen that's on the framework, that the 1080p screens I have now are just not good enough. I never thought I would ever say that ever. So again, Ryan is right. I hate to admit that. DOSGeek was right about the number of pixels. And I want to go 2 different ways with it. And I'm not sure either way. I'm not sold on either way. So I guess more to come on that. But that's kind of what I like to do. Just kind of I want to upgrade and make my, because I spend a lot of time on my Linux systems, I want to improve the how effective I am with my technology, I guess, be more efficient. And also, I think this year is going to be a good year, like in the workplace. I'm kind of at the point now where I'm not having to like just bang my head against the wall with every problem that comes at me, or really dig deep and have to learn something new every day. That it's kind of getting to the point now where I know a lot of the solutions for this, and I can get the solutions pretty quickly. And so that kind of it feels good, and so I think that I'll have a little more time to focus on some more longer term projects and actually get the things done I want to do, not the things I have to do. So I think this is looking like a good year, and we'll see how it goes. I probably won't blow my budget on hardware like Matt does, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll take. I think what we should do is we should make an accounting of all the technology we buy this year. And then we'll compare notes at the end of the year, Matt, and see who is worse, you or me.
So, question to that then, Nate. Are we counting like mice and keyboards and all the other
everything.
peripherals and all that?
Everything.
Everything, huh?
Yeah.
You got another content.
But we're not going to count 3D printers and filament, though. We're not going to count that.
No. So if I gotta count mice and keyboards and all the other stuff, you gotta count your filament for your printer.
Okay. If I have to count filament, you have to count games.
Oh,
That's not
hardware, though. The only way that would count as
filament is a
hardware.
usable.
If it's hardware, is that?
I was going to say it would have to be physical media for that to count.
No.
Right? Yeah. But like
if-
filament is usable, right? It's one
Right,
of those
it's
things you have
it's a
to replace
consumable.
as you use it. Yeah.
Right. So if I have to count filament, you have to count digital purchases.
No,
Yes.
no. Digital,
Agree.
no.
I 100% agree.
No.
Yes.
I'm with Matt on
I
this
will
one.
count.
I'm with
count
Matt on
those.
this one. Rare is the day, but I'm with Matt on this one.
I will count.
The
physical.
thing is like I do so much printing for the robotics team, not even for me, that having to count buying filament like that shouldn't count, right? It is a consumable.
Okay, well, let's
It's being
compromise here.
used
So
for
no, we
education
compromise here.
purposes.
Wendy's filament that she uses for other people's projects does not count against her total. Wendy's
Perfect.
filament that she uses for her own projects counts against her total. Matt's digital games do not count against his total, but physical media that Matt buys counts against his total.
Lord knows I got enough of it.
He already put in his bit for that. Now, also, that means hold on.
And
Here's the
and let it be
keynote. Here's the
Well, let
keynote.
it be known, Bill. Every one of mine is like $50 to $60 if I buy them physical anyway.
Fine. However,
No,
Nate?
that roll of nylon carbon fiber for half a kilogram is $70. So yeah.
Okay, Nate, your
Mhm.
compromise. All of your 8-bit games that you buy in physical media count against your total. All of your Commodore parts that you buy count against your total.
You guys
Now-
need to just start spreadsheets. Like, there's no way.
Now I'm going to
we can
beat
track
all of you.
this.
Now I'm going to beat all of you.
So this is
I'm
like
gonna
a
beat
new
all of
in-box
you.
Commodore 64 game. This would not count with the cellophane.
All of the
That would
hardware
count.
that I buy for
Nope.
servers, network stuff.
Yes.
Rack-
Bill's going to win.
The copyright
gonna
is
win.
2018 to 2021, so this doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
No,
Half
any
of it
digital,
counts.
any digital media counts.
Apparently, Nate doesn't understand how data works. So,
Well, tell you what I'll do. I will track computer hardware, and that will be any computer hardware I purchase. So whether it's 8-bit, because I'm buying SD cards for an 8-bit machine, so where the lines are kind of blurred there.
Yeah.
And then I'll track software and then digital downloads, which is probably more than physical for me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then printer stuff in a separate column. And then we'll just see at the end of the year. I have to track it for tax purposes anyway. So
I was going to say I hadn't bought anything yet this year, but I have bought cables for the 3D printer because one needed swapped. So there's that. I have bought cables already this year.
But I'm not counting the couch that has built-in LEDs. That's not counting.
You have time out. You have rainbow vomit on your couch,
I don't.
no,
Not yet.
Not yet.
but you will.
I am buying a new couch. Well, maybe not now if I have to count it. I need to buy a new couch this year.
Okay.
I was looking at like a Darth
So-
Vader looking couch, but anyway. go ahead.
So instead of Nate having a van with the shag carpet from the 70s, he is going to have a rainbow colored, vomited colored couch.
Well, I already have that for my. I bought a new bed last year, and it's like a nice
no,
rustic
really.
wood, and the bed frame does actually have built-in LEDs, and one of the modes is it responds to sound and music, so I can, if I start like it'll actually start flashing. That's great.
Does it light up when you snore?
It can.
Like Knight Rider. The louder he snores, the
Ooh.
bigger the LEDs get.
So they
So-
are.
so
It's a single
Wendy-
channel LED system. It's not multi-channel. It's just
Not
single.
yet. Wait till you get your hands on that and tie it to
So
the home
to
assistant.
totally derail this. Besides deals we're making to see who outspends each other, Um, as far as buying computer-based hardware,
I realize this is all my fault. Like, I get it. I understand. I'm sorry.
yeah. Why am I the one getting us back on track? This doesn't work, right?
I don't know. Yes. Why are you the one getting us back on track? Usually that's me, but I have to stop laughing long enough in order to get us back on track, and I'm still not quite there yet. You guys are all looking forward to some really fun and exciting things this coming year, and I don't know that I necessarily have something that I'm just like super all excited about. I guess I could say I would love it for the universal packages not to suck, and I'm probably one of the few people in the realm that don't enjoy universal packages for the most part. Like, I typically have bad luck with them when it comes to like theming or trying to be able to access certain files and whatever I need. I just haven't fallen in love with them the same way that the DL crew has. And so I'm hoping in this coming year that when I see it's available as a Flatpak, that's not my response. That I'll be like, oh, yay, it's available as a Flatpak or a Snap or whatever. I actually have been playing with Orca Slicer as a Flatpak like we were talking about before. And so far, like, it seems to be working pretty well. Haven't had too many issues with it. Since I am using a modified Ender 5 Plus, I have had to go back into some config files so it would let me use TPU, which, I mean, I have a direct drive extruder, so I should be able to, but in not base files, right? It says it should be able to. But I found all of that stuff. Seems to be working fine. I'm having to use, trying to remember the name of the program, Lightburn. I'm having to use Lightburn as an app image, but I'm pretty concerned because Lightburn is talking about not continuing Linux support. That here, I can't remember which version, that they're not even going to be creating an app image anymore. And so, longevity of certain softwares is kind of a concern. And Lightburn seems to be the standard for the most part when it comes to using the laser engraver, cutter, whatnot. I got to do some fun things with it over Christmas time. So I guess it's not necessarily like something I'm looking forward to improving Linux and all. I'm just hoping that my relationship with the universal packages can become more friendly, because right now I don't necessarily enjoy them. I don't necessarily love the install process. I don't love the fact that I have conflicts with theming and whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see how the year goes.
The positive, though, because it's an app image, chances are that piece of software will work for you for a long time. So,
right, yes.
So it's not that big a deal. And I understand, honestly, I understand your frustration with Flatpak or universal packages. So my issue with Snaps is it's a little bit of a massaging to get it to work in OpenSUSE the way I like.
Mm-hmm.
It's not horrible. It works pretty well, but every once in a while they break. And then also I've had some issues on and off with, like, all of a sudden the fonts go crazy and I got to do some dancing in the background to get the fonts fixed. That's not an OpenSUSE issue. That's a Snap issue. Probably fixed now, so it's probably a moot point. I don't know. I haven't used it. I have not had that pop up in a while. Flatpak are great as long as it's not a GTK application, because then the menus are white and it just looks terrible. So I agree. If it's a Qt based, not a problem. Flatpak, but Flatpak GTK based are just, they're not right. And it'd be nice if it could actually detect if it's in a dark themed desktop and then actually behave properly like that. It doesn't. So app images, I tend to use, like, I'll see how the theme integration is. And so if they have an app image and a Flatpak, if the Flatpak theme integration isn't any good, I'll go with the app image. I don't care if, you can, every DL excuse, not say it's an excuse, but every DL reason why they don't like app images are basically moot.
See,
when it
that's
comes
just
to
Michael. I wouldn't put it all on DL. I would just say Michael, because Michael's the one who voices the biggest opinion on not liking app images. And I can understand the frustration where a lot of them don't have built-in updating. You have to go look for it. That seems like a Windows problem.
Yeah, I honestly I don't care because every app image I use will tell me when there's an update. So
Okay,
that's a non-issue.
Yeah.
I've not had one app image not tell me there's an update in years. And then I like app images because I can keep multiple versions at a time. I can't do that with Flatpak. Not in the same way. I know you can do it with Flatpak, but not in the same clean way as you can with app images with the app image launcher.
Mhm.
I know they have another one called Geary or whatever, but I just keep using app image launcher. I know it hasn't had an update in a while. Doesn't matter. Still works fine. And it does just one simple task, which is to manage app images and put them in your menu. That's it. So I like keeping multiple versions. So especially like things like when before OnCell was a CAD application I was using, that project kind of sort of died, but it's Flatpak. It's FreeCAD based. So I can install the FreeCAD versions, especially when like using FreeCAD or CAD, these different CAD packages that I do use. Also the X lights for like my Christmas light stuff. I like keeping those multiple versions in there, which is really easy to do. And I only get rid of them when I don't want them anymore. But it's nice because if something breaks in the software, I don't care. Because it's app image.
Yeah.
I don't care if it breaks because I'll just use it in an older version, and I won't get rid of the older version until I know I like the newer one. So to me, app image is the superior from a user control perspective from any other universal package. So it is by far the superior one in that regard, as long as you have the app image launcher. And then it's very easy to copy that to another computer without having to play any silly games. Yes, if you can do some really cool things with Flatpaks and pulling them down and creating whatever, you can do these things with like Flatpak or Snap supposedly. But AppImages is a very convenient package. In fact, I think between AppImage and Flatpak, I'm 50-50 on it. It's really convenient being able to do Flatpak update in the terminal or using Discover and having everything be updated. But it's also really nice having that control. So I think for complex applications, except for Kdenlive will use a Flatpak. But for complex applications, I think AppImage is the way to go. Although OBS, great as a Flatpak, by the way. All the tools, the bells and whistles, all the little lickies and chewies that make OBS awesome. I don't have to fiddle around with trying to get this package or this resource from wherever, because you have a community of people building this Flatpaks for it. You can just glob on whatever you want. And I think they got the permissions pretty much dialed in here, because everything works from like your what's called the virtual OBS virtual camera. That all seems to work pretty well. All the different little fun things work. The NDI, to be able to beam from one OBS instance to another video, that works really well too. So all these things are working really well with that as a Flatpak.
What about plugins? Because I know Michael uses OBS plugins. Did those still work nicely with the Flatpak version, or is that not something you've had to play with?
I'm what you would call a minimal viable project OBS user. Gotcha. I don't do anything fancy. It's like I just wanted to do something very simple, which is do a couple of scenes. I would like to up my game a little bit. I don't know if there might be Flatpak plugins already that exist. And I'm sure because all Flatpak does is put it in your .var folder as a user for your configurations and such. I'm pretty sure you can throw your plugins in there
and still be fine. Cool.
I think so, but I don't know. I haven't tried it out yet. There's been plugins I do use on the OBS. But they're very simple ones, and there's like they're browser plugins for it, and so it just works.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
I don't know. I'm not a high end user. I'm a just above useless with it. So
no, I doubt it. I'm pretty sure that you could tell someone how to set it up, make it work.
Yes,
all that fun stuff.
And the also like OBS, like with the Flatpak, if you want to send your output to a specific monitor, you can do that very easily with it as well. So,
nice.
So
Perfect.
any of the features that I need, the core features with OBS Flatpak, it's what I use on this machine. It's what I use on my framework. So it just
Nice.
works.
Perfect. I hope things get better. Like I said, if I'm reading the packages, I would probably choose, and I think I'm with you as far as like being about the same with the Flatpak and an app image. I haven't had as great of luck with snaps, but then I don't typically run an Ubuntu based system. And I think if you are, then they're probably a simpler, easier to use kind of thing. But even, well, I think Michael's still on Linux Mint. I think that's what I heard him say on the last recording of Twill. And so they must be working well for him too, because, well, no, I guess Mint doesn't use snaps, do they? They use Flatpaks.
Yep, they're Flatpak.
And
Okay,
they impede your way
so-
to actually install snaps if you so decide.
Which is silly,
kind of annoying, but
Yeah.
to each their own, right?
Yeah.
Yes, to each their own.
Actually, Wendy, as far as there is a tool that I believe I recently found not that long ago called, I believe it's called AppImage Update. It actually makes it so that each application pulls in the update information from the actual app
Nice.
image. So you can,
Nice.
I'm not sure if it auto updates it itself or if it drags you to the site and does it, but it informs you either way that there's an update on the app images that you have installed. So
That is nice. That's nice.
And they recently just had a release 2 weeks ago. So it's up to date too.
Ooh. I use a few, but I just had them pulled up. So Etcher, I mean, I haven't flashed an ISO and I don't know how long that I didn't use Etcher. Lightburn, of course, and it looks like they're done putting out Linux appages as of 1.7, and that's the one that I recently got. So looks like no more updates from them as far as that goes. And then I had been using Orca Slicer as an app image, but like I said, I'm currently using that one as a Flatpak at the moment. So that's
I was gonna say I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I like most of mine are like if I'm on Arch is mostly native stuff that I'm usually pulling down. But like there's a few specific apps that I use for mostly app image or Flatpaks. I know I use the CMU, which is a Wii U emulator, Cinelair, GG, Proton Up, QT. And the UbiPorts installer, ironically, is a app image. And then
nice.
then there's a little program that I won't talk about, but I'll leave that one alone for legal reasons.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think there's answers to some of the shortcomings in all of them as far as the universal apps. I mean, there's still issues with even native packages a lot of the times too.
Mm-hmm.
I know Garuda recently there was some weird update where the system would hang on a reboot for me. And it was tied to some recent update that they did. It was fixed in a couple of days. It wasn't that big of a deal. I just had to roll back to a different snapshot. But you get into where like, you get the rundown and system, starting or whatever. And it just kind of, that's where where it stays.
Yeah.
So, there's pros and cons to everything that we get.
Yeah, I guess I would say I kind of get annoyed, especially where I've been on a Linux-based, or not a Linux-based, an Arch-based system for so long, that when I'm like, it's not in the repo, right? Just because I'm so used to being just whatever I want, for the most part, being there. It's either in the base repo or it's in the AUR, so... it's just there. I don't have to go looking for packages. I don't have to go looking for the Flatpak. I don't have to go looking for the app image because, well, it's just there. and I guess personal thing, I just get annoyed. Right? I just get annoyed.
Well, see, ironically, so for me, like Cinelera GG is my preferred editor when I'm using doing video editing analytics. They ship an app image. I install the app image through the AUR.
Okay.
Because
hey,
if it works, that's probably the most stable Arch package you can install.
They literally update once a month.
Yeah, there you go.
But
there you go.
The point, anyway, is that even there's other weird things that we see where there's like app image pool. It's a store for app image, but you install it via Flatpak.
Yeah.
So take your pick.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully, I'll become more happy with the packages, and I guess that'll be part of the Fedora experiment, right? As in getting everything set up, getting all of the applications that I need, and how many of those do need to be pulled in as Flatpak. And I know there are some apps, because I know they were talking about it recently on DL, where you can help balance some of those permissions. Okay, I need access to this particular folder structure for this app, and being able to give it permissions to do so. So,
the app you're talking about is called FlatSeal. And it manages permissions for Flatpaks.
So, I mean, that is at least an advantage of having an application where you can go in and edit some of those things and being able to make them work the way you want them to. But other than that, I don't have anything else major. If I come up with something else between now and the next recording, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I don't have anything exciting that I'm wishing for this year. But you guys had some great ones. Like, fantastic discussion, even with that massive content edit that's out of here. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry too.
That might be cut, but it's still saved nonetheless.
Speak.
I walked into it.
Wendy, if you need a helpful Fedora script, I would be happy to share my Fedora provisioning script with you that I use for provisioning my desktop machines here. I will send you over an invite.
Yeah, I'd be interested in looking at that for sure.
What's really neat is a friend of mine modified it and rebuilt it based on Ansible.
Okay.
So I'll share that with you as well, and that way you can tweak that however you want, and it might speed up your Fedora installation experience a bit.
Yes, it would, because it kind of seems like a daunting task to start from scratch in trying to get all of that placed and listed out the way I wanted to. So yeah, I'm very, very curious to look at that script and kind of see how things are put in there and kind of help me on that path. Because I have a basic idea of the stuff that I need. Like I said, I don't know how much of it is going to have to come in as a Flatpak instead of just being able to pull it from the repo. So some of it is that, but that would be a great place to get started from. So thank you. That would be awesome.
Of course, happy to help.
Now it's your turn to toss in your 2 cents on today's topics. Hit the discourse form, drop a line under this video or on the contact form by visiting textdigital.com/contact. If you'd like to hang out with us on our preferred social media, see the links in the bottom of the show description. Find other great shows like Sudo Show, Destination Linux, Linux Saloon, and so much more at textdigital.com. Yeah, you can see some of these other fellas there on the network. Show off your love for your favorite podcasts and shows by visiting the Tux Digital merch store. Grab yourself some awesome swag, like the gamer-centric I paused my game to be here. As you saw, Matt was busy doing game stuff while we recorded the show. Or you could join hashtag Team Wendy with some sinister Wendy swag. As always, we thank you for joining us.
Evil.
Just won't let that go.
I'm not the one who brought up those comments during the cut section. As always, we thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time with another awesome sode of Linux Out Loud. Until then, keep the banter friendly. the conversation kind of on topic and have fun doing it.
They will have fun with the stripper pole.
Charlie had 3 angels. Wendy has 3 devils.
The fact
you
that
ever seen
it took
people, like-
you that long to get it.
I'm sorry. I ran every perverted thing I could think of through my head that I had in my queue, and nothing was coming up. Like I was thinking fireman pole.
Is that a
Like,
common
I'm trying to-
problem for
I'm
you?
trying to-
They make a pill for that, you know?